So, hey, welcome to the Tax.pro channel. I've got Jackson with me today, and I wanted to do a little bit of a shout out. We're sitting in our new studio. We've been building out.
Such a great studio.
It's come a long way.
It's phenomenal.
Started in the bedroom, moved to my office, which was not great. Hard to do meetings with clients in there with camera stuff everywhere. And now we're in an actual studio in our building, which is awesome. So Josh and Morgan have been working their tail ends off, building this out, getting equipment, making it better. So shout out to those guys. This is awesome. So
amazing. Incredible.
we wanted to sit down. Jackson just kind of had some questions. This is a little more laid back and wanted to chat through maybe how we got where we are and what's happening. And he just had some questions, thought we might jump on here and record it.
So you're second generation business owner with KBS, great company, fabulous to work here with everybody. I had a question for you kind of concerning stepping into the second generation role. Tell me what that's like as a leader.
Yeah, so your grandfather, my dad, Jerry, founded our company in 1984. Obviously did a great job building the foundation, and he laid a lot of work on that foundation, on systems and processes, and getting us to grow to a level where I was able to step in and kind of help. And yeah, so that was a slow transition. I mean, when I started out, people didn't respect me. I was in my early 20s, and I'd grown up in the business, so they kind of thought of me as like the redheaded stepchild. And you know, when you're in your early 20s and you're trying to lead people, and at that point I was not a good leader, I was more of a manager. You're trying to get people to do something, and you don't really understand that.
Yes.
And they're 50.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or they're 40.
So yeah. So it's a little bit harder to get respect, out of that.
Yeah.
And real quick, one thing you'd mentioned, manager and leader. I'll elaborate a little bit. What's the difference between those two?
Yeah, so I did it wrong, and that was part of the problem. I was very heavy-handed and was more of a manager, and that's the role I played, not realizing what I was doing. So a manager basically is just going to give you a quota and be like, you're not hitting the quota, you're not living up to the standard. A leader is going to take the time to paint the vision and get you to catch it and be missionally charged to go through as a whole in this direction.
I love that.
So when you're leading people, you're casting vision for them, and you're not sitting there going, well, why didn't you cross your T's and dot your I's or whatever. I think a good leader is really a great salesman, and they're selling you on the mission of what we're trying to accomplish.
No, that's great. I love the definition kind of those two that you're giving us. It's phenomenal. So real quick, one thing, kind of going back, I want to go back a little bit. Second generation leader of the KBS. What were your approaches to business that were different than the first generation? My grandfather, your dad, what were the differences in those two?
Yeah, so not foundationally not a lot, right? Because the number one goal is to serve clients and serve them well. I would say one of the things that I've done is I've had to narrow down our focus a little bit. We may have been a little broader, and part of that's just has to be whenever you're founding a company, you have to be, because you have to be whatever brings in money. And so as I've come in, we've gotten a little bit more focused, and we've narrowed our focus on specific things, kind of created a stop doing list. We're just not going to do these things because we don't do them very well. But we do this really well, and we're going to focus on doing that. And then in time, we've been adding other services that are more focused around that general mission and direction. So I would say trying to narrow down the scope has definitely been one of the things that's been a little bit tricky, for sure. Not that what we had was bad or wrong, but I think you just have to get more narrow to serve more people.
I see. Yeah. No, for sure. That's totally understandable. I can see that. At what point did you earn kind of, I guess, the level of respect as a leader coming in second generation? You talked about managers and leaders, the difference between the two. At what point did you kind of feel that you were respected as a leader? What did that look like? What timeline, what age in the business? How many years of experience were you working with everybody? What did that look like?
Well, it was a slow transition. I still don't always get it right. One of the things that I figured out pretty quick is most business owners, the biggest problem they have is their head's way too far up their ops. They're so worried about operations, they're not thinking about the vision and direction of the overall company and what we're trying to accomplish. There's a point where it's like, you start getting a team and we start working on distilling this down to everybody. But during this whole time, the battle is I keep getting pulled back into operations. We're trying to bridge the gap where we need more people. We don't have the funds to hire more people. So I'm back in operations. And there's a balance to that. You just keep learning, you just keep working on your leadership, and you just keep focusing on, okay, when I'm doing this thing over here in production, I cannot lead effectively.
Right.
I mean, yes, I may be helping out this moment, but I'm not effectively leading the team. And whenever I step back and I go, okay, I'm going to work on myself, I'm going to get myself in a better place so that I can effectively lead the team, then that's when really much better leadership occurred.
I see. And something that's interesting, I think kind of can play a role of that. I mean, let me know if I'm wrong, that you have to have the heart and really the mind to concentrate to know, like, hey, we're gonna continue to serve clients. We're not just gonna have a level, a certain level, like, oh, once we reach that level, we're done. That's not being a good leader, because at that point you lose heart in the business and the clients that you're serving. Am I right on that?
Oh yeah, for sure. You always have to work on yourself. For example, right now, a lot of the things that are going on in the business they're intangibles. They're not something that I'm over them, but my hand's not directly in them. So I don't have a lot of control over those things. And what I've learned over the years is whenever I'm in that position, I start getting real particular about things I can control that are tangible. I might, when you're a kid, you probably remember this. There was one evening I came home from work and I was frustrated and I threw everything in the garage away.
Super traumatizing.
Yes. Because it was tangible and I could control it. Yeah. I think a lot of it's just realizing those are the tendencies and then managing that stuff in your personal life, but then also just working on those leadership skills and continuing to go back and go, okay, man, I'm self-deceived here, or I need to work on this part of myself so that I can help the team and work on becoming a better person. So yeah, you can't ever stop. The moment you stop growing a business, the moment you stop growing a company, dangerous stuff.
Unlock the power of full-service payroll with Payority. What is full-service payroll? It's the ultimate hassle-free solution for managing your business's payroll needs. With full-service payroll, every aspect of payroll processing is handled for you, from calculating wages and taxes to filing compliance reports and ensuring timely payments. You get peace of mind while saving time and resources.
How has your leadership evolved over the years? What things have changed over the time? Because I know you go to a lot of leadership seminars. You're always constantly in it, trying to learn about leadership. What are some key, if you could bring it down to maybe 5 things, really, top 5 for running a business that you've got to have?
Yeah, it's really tough. I think the things that I constantly work on would be trying to be clear about direction with the team. I'm not saying I do these things well, but that's one. I think for me, one of the really big things is I try to make sure the team feels like they can come to me and tell me anything. Mm-hmm. And even if it's as long as it's not like attacking my character, but I try to say, hey, look, there's no recourse to you. Because the thing is, as a leader, you're going to be aware of the problems and things that are going on.
Right.
You just might not be aware of how loud they are in your team members' lives. Mm. And so I love the feedback, and they come and they're like, hey, when you did this thing, that was hard, or that was tough. Yeah. So that's a big one. That's a big one for me. I think just using that dead time, if you're driving in the car, I'm going to be listening to a podcast. I'm going to be
constantly
listening
learning.
To a book, reading a book. Then one of the things I do also is I try to read every morning as far as tax law and that kind of stuff. So that's maybe not leadership, but definitely just industry specific things. So I'm trying to keep up with what's going on. And then I would say the last thing is, because I'm kind of an ideas guy, I come up with ideas a lot, being able to recognize that maybe your idea is not the best idea and somebody else's idea is the best idea.
And that can be hard.
It is hard. Yeah. It's hard. It's good to recognize them and say, hey, thank you for that, man. That's a great idea and I'm excited about it. And you're exactly right. Cultivating that environment to where it's like we can go into a room and we can argue about it. People can say no and you don't take it personally. You're like, no, truly, that's not the best thing for the company or for the client. And just realizing that you're not right. You're just not right all the time. It's good to be wrong.
Yeah. No, can really help narrow where you need to be going in business once you find those things that you don't need to be doing, the don'ts, right? One thing I want to ask real quick, because you talked about constantly filling up with tax information, understanding what is current, what is not. What is something and some things that have changed over the last 30 years with tax? How is it similar? How is it different? Is there like a noticeable, something that's familiar every time it changes, or something that's constantly always there with changes throughout the law?
Yeah, it's weird. It changes. Tax changes all the time. It's a little bit like, how does the beach change when the waves of the ocean hit it? It's like every day.
Yeah.
But there's consistency, right? Within that, you know that there's going to be another wave. You know
Right.
that maybe the sandbar is going to move based on the current and the tide. So you learn a lot of those things, and those things happen throughout tax. A lot of it's just reading, understanding tax history, understanding what is likely going to happen based on the economy. It helps to have that history, because then you kind of have an idea of what's coming and how things will work.
And as things are progressing, I want to talk about that for a little bit too. I think that a fear a lot of business owners might have is even AI interacting with maybe some tax work, something that checks constantly if businesses are compliant. What would you say to those business owners?
Well, AI is going to play a big role in the future, obviously, and I think for sure around compliance, right? So we want to be very aware of that. And it's going to create some issues for non-compliant companies. The other thing I would say, we see a lot of this right now. It's crazy. People just trust it, and they think that it's weird because they think of it as like their buddy, or like, or even worse, they think of it as like an expert on a topic when it's not. I would caution people.
That can be dangerous.
It's very dangerous, because they assume that it knows, and it gives bad advice. And we get those calls all the time, and they're like, "This is what we're doing. Can you just look at it and make sure it's right?" And I'm like, "None of it's right. Everything you've said is wrong.
Wow.
Like, don't do any of that." And then the other part too is, I think, just the number of influencers that are just completely wrong. It's shocking, the stuff we see out there. I would tell you, be very careful about where you're getting your advice and what your sources are. And AI is not a reputable tax source. I almost wish they would say,
get with the tax advisor instead.
Yeah, I wish AI would be like, we're tapping out.
Yeah.
Like, we're not even going to answer that question.
Man,
you need to talk to a tax pro, because it's just dangerous, some of the stuff people come up with.
Right, because you're dealing with legal laws that you've got to follow as a business owner. You've got to have compliance with, and that can be so dangerous, especially financially, and can get you in all sorts of trouble if you're not doing the right thing.
And it's the nuances within the law that's tricky. It's understanding, this court case applies, but that one does not.
I see.
Why does it not? Because it's a different code section, it's a different issue. So yeah, that's when I think AI is dangerous.
Not keeping up with.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I don't know that it's trained well enough to understand those nuances, just like a legal problem.
I see.
So it's like, you have a legal issue, maybe not basing all of your defense on whatever AI kicks out is the smartest move. You want to go with an attorney that actually understands. The same with tax.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Why Payorty's full-service payroll stands out. Complete payroll management. We handle everything: wage calculations, tax withholdings, direct deposits, and more. Compliance made easy. Stay worry-free with expert handling of federal, state, and local tax regulations. Employee self-service. Empower your team with easy access to pay stubs and tax forms through our secure portal.
So I've heard that you can avoid paying all taxes through forming an LLC. How true is that?
TikTok.
TikTok.
Well, step one, you've heard me say this a lot, and that is step one: panic.
Panic.
Just straight up.
Yeah.
So imagine you're asleep peacefully in bed, and your alarm goes off, and you get out of bed. Step one, panic. That's the first thing that you want to do. And then step two, you want to go ahead and just jump on, get your phone or your computer immediately, and go form an LLC. That's step two. Yes.
Right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. That's what you need to do, for sure. Absolutely. Because we all know that's how you don't pay any tax. Those are the internet secrets. Obviously, I'm full of crap. Like, none of that is true.
No.
Just like you wouldn't get out of bed and panic. So no, I
On
hear
a
this
more
crap all the
serious
time.
note,
Yeah,
yes,
more serious note. The answer to the question, can you avoid all taxes by forming an LLC? No. Can you form a church and you make the LLC the beneficiary of the K1 from your LLC going into the church and avoid all taxes? No. And here's the thing. Let's just talk about this. You and I enter a contract, and the contract is, I'm going to hire you to go murder somebody. And this is the argument that these people are making. They're saying, well, contract supersedes tax law. Okay. You cannot form a contract that supersedes state, local, or federal law,
But it's in
and
a
it's a valid contract. The moment you violate the law, it's not a valid contract. So the tax law.
Don't worry, but it's in the contract.
Yeah, exactly.
It's-
It's ridiculous, is what it is. It's foolishness. So the moment that you do that and you're using these languages or you're hearing this, the foundation of tax law is, Michael Scott, in any way, in any form or fashion that you ever receive whatsoever on any given day that you could even attribute to whatsoever possibly being a gain is taxable. Like if I were to just summarize it in one phrase. So yeah, that's it. If it's a gain of income, it's taxable income.
Period.
And period. And there's not a way to evade that. There are some ways to avoid it. Sure, there's always more we can do, but there's a point where you're dropping dollars and you're picking up dimes. And we don't want to drop dollars to pick up dimes for tax savings. That's just stupidity.
Interesting. So with serving clients, right, you're probably getting a lot of questions. Would it be better to form an LLC to, how do you go about serving those clients? Or even if they have formed an LLC and have done exactly what you just said, were not compliant at all, did not follow the rules, and they're in deep trouble. How do you have those hard conversations with them? What does that look like?
Yeah, so step 1 is panic. Step 2 is form an LLC. Step 3 is complexify your life. So not just one LLC, we're going to have 4 LLCs that go to different. Yeah, we're going to complex. So I like to uncomplexify.
Uncomplexify
for clients and make it real simple. Real simple. Right?
I love that.
Or decomplexify.
Yeah,
That's what we're trying to get to, where it's just not. It's no longer complex, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like we have to refer them to an attorney because there's some legal consequences to what their actions were in trying to evade taxes, and those have real consequences like federal prison.
Oh my goodness.
And so, depending on what they've done, for the most part, it's pretty simple. If you do something, you are reporting your income. You haven't created 14,000 entities. For the most part, we can decomplexify, uncomplexify that, and we can get them on a path that makes sense, and we try to educate them through education to where it's like, hey, we are definitely going to give you 2 or 3 options. Right. Calm down. Microphone. We're going to give you 2 or 3 options, and then you got the opportunity to choose what one you want to go down. Pick your own adventure. I might lean you towards a certain one because it's maybe better for your circumstances.
Yes.
But as long as we're not breaking any law, then I'm okay with going different directions for the most part. If they're breaking the law, if they are not going to come to terms with whatever law they're breaking, I'm going to show them out of the business and into somewhere else.
So what are some core values that you have got listed or that you follow as you serve clients, different business owners?
I think a lot of it comes down to some very simple things, and that is like, treat others like you want to be treated. That's a super big one. Simplifying the complex. I mean, that's one of our core values. We want to actually try to make complex things simple where people understand them.
And make sure it's understandable to the client, right?
Absolutely.
We want to be able to teach them so that they know what they're doing, right?
Yep. Another one that's important to us, I don't even think this one's like on the website or anywhere, but I say it all the time, and I'll say, this is Fight Club.
That's exactly. You say that all the time. Yeah.
And what do I mean when I say this is Fight Club?
We don't talk about Fight Club.
We don't. What's the first rule of Fight Club? We don't talk about Fight Club.
We don't talk about Fight Club. Yeah.
So clients that come to us, we see this all the time, and they're relieved. Like, oh, I can have a conversation with Josh, and he's not going to go tell everybody. Or if I see him in public and we talk, it's like, how are your kids? If they want to talk business, we'll talk business. But I'm not going to bring it up.
Nope.
I'm not going to be they're not going to see me at the restaurant, and I'm going to walk over and start talking about their business in front of other people.
That's exactly right.
And so I think that's a nice thing that we bring to the table and that we've embodied within our company. And yeah, there's power. Whole life focus. I mean, that's another one of our core values. And what I mean by that, it's not work-life balance. Like, that's a lie. So don't even believe that. But whole life focus means that we're not just doing what's best for you today. We're actually looking in the future and we're going, what's best for you in 30
In the long
years
run. Yeah.
from today?
Yeah.
Most people are like, we just need to save tax money today, pay as little as we can today. Is that what's best for you over the next 30 years? Maybe, but maybe not.
If you're not prepared, or if you don't have a planned future of knowing exactly where you're going, that can be very dangerous.
What are your
It's scary too,
Yeah, what are your
right?
goals?
Exactly.
Right? What are your
yeah.
goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Why do you have this business? What are your goals?
Yeah.
And then we're going to partner with you and we're going to try to achieve common goals together so that we're actually helping you get to where you want to go. We're not just doing your taxes.
Dedicated support. Our payroll experts are with you every step of the way, ensuring accuracy and reliability. Ready to simplify your payroll? Visit Payority.com to learn how our full-service payroll solutions can transform your business.
Yeah, so the top 1% income earners in America pay 40% of all tax. So yeah, being rich means that you don't pay taxes, right? No, not at all. You pay the most tax when you're rich because that's a progressive tax system, which is what we have. Are there ways to pay less tax? For sure, but no, you're going to pay tax. What's dumb is, number one, to believe that. Number two, it's really, really dumb, in my opinion, if you are not being unintentional about your tax. So tax efficiency is really what you want to get at, being tax efficient. My goal in life is actually to pay the most tax that I possibly can. However,
Interesting. Why? Why? That's
right.
Who
Most
wants to
tax
do
I possibly
that?
can.
Yeah.
Because that means I'm making a lot of money. But here's the thing. I say that knowing I'm already the most tax efficient I can be.
Right.
So I'm saying that through the lens of being, I'm already paying the lowest I possibly can within my income level, and I want to pay the most that I can because that means I'm making a lot of money.
And not only are you making a lot of money, but you're also helping a lot of people.
And that's the real reason. And that's
Right.
why you said that, because people ask me all the time, what is your goal? What is your income goal? What are you trying to do? And I don't set income goals. Like, that's not what I do. What I do set is I set giving goals. I set the number of people I want to help goals. Those are the things that I look at.
That's important. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that if I help enough people, they're going to give me certificates of appreciation with presidents' faces on them. And that's it, man.
Yeah.
If I do a good job, they're going to reward that, and I don't have to do anything else. If you've got a tax question, feel free to reach out or comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Appreciate your time.